For several weeks now, small groups of Italian Americans have been picketing FBI headquarters in Manhattan to protest the use of terms like mafia and gangster, which they regard as ethnic slurs. Today, the protest took on all the appearances of a full-fledged movement as thousands of demonstrators gathered near Central Park to celebrate Italian American Unity Day. Moving through the crowd was CBS News correspondent Robert Shackney.
The crowd was huge, tens of thousands of Italian Americans, some brought in by buses from distant states, jamming New York's Columbus Circle for a rally lasting well into the afternoon. The principal theme, protest against what was said to be defamation of Italian Americans as criminals.
Italian Americans face an insidious bias that comes from a mythical association with crime. The fact is that our more than 22 million Italian Americans, only 5,000, a mere 1/50th of 1%, not a half, not a quarter, 1/50th of 1%, are involved in organized crime. That's better than the 99 and 44 100ths purity of ivory soap.
The rally drew what one news agency estimated to be a crowd of 100,000. Among them politicians and candidates of all political persuasions, the extremely conservative and the outspoken liberal. The demonstration, an outgrowth of the anti-FBI protest campaign organized by Joseph Colombo Sr., who'd been accused of running a major mafia crime family. And when Colombo personally made an appearance, the cheers were loud.
God, that I was born of Italian birth. But today, this day belongs to you, the people. You are organized. You are one. Nobody could take you apart anymore.
The crowd heard Colombo's son Anthony call for more protest action, including a symbolic boycott of newspapers which supposedly defame Italian Americans.
To show them that we will no longer accept the ethnic slurs against the Italian American people, on July 4th, we will buy no newspapers at all. And July 5th, we will buy no newspapers at all. We urge your support. One, we are one.
When the speaking ended, a good part of the crowd marched off through Central Park to carry their protest across town to the front of the FBI headquarters. For the most part, parade marshals managed to keep this big and noisy crowd orderly. But by this time, emotions were so high that the predictable happened in front of the police barricades set up around the FBI building. Pushing, shoving, minor scuffling, several arrests before order was restored. And somehow in this confusion, and it isn't clear yet just what happened, 2 policemen were stabbed during the scuffling at the barricades. They're hospitalized. They're said to be in fair condition. Robert Shackney, CBS News, New York.
Italy's parliament released today a report which charges that the country's politicians and policemen have been protecting the mafia since World War II. Police responded by immediately rounding up mafia suspects on the Italian peninsula and in Sicily. In New York, Joseph Colombo Sr., founder of the Italian American Unity Movement and a reputed mafia boss, is reported in steadily worsening condition. Colombo's been in a coma since he was shot 2 weeks ago. His followers are becoming increasingly concerned. ABC's David Snell learned that, to them at least, Colombo is something of a folk hero.
In New York City's large, ethnically isolated Italian communities, the shot that felled Joe Colombo froze Italian American Unity Day into a state of suspended animation. On the streets, the question, "How's Joe?" has become a standard form of greeting. The boisterous activity at Ralph Buono's market stops abruptly when the outsider mentions the Colombo name.
Colombo's a very good man. He's trying to unite all the Italian people to be one. He's trying to help all discrimination, not just with the Italian people, with all the people.
Just like a pack of lambs, you need a sheep herder, we need a leader. These people are lost without a leader. This is our leader. What he stands for, what is behind, I don't know. But meantime, he's our leader.
The unanimity of opinion along Arthur Avenue is not shared by middle-class Italians who feel leadership should be made of purer stuff. But the working man living in crowded tenements, competing for the dwindling bottom third of New York City's jobs with blacks and Puerto Ricans, feels threatened. He has seen his neighbors being laid off, his kids being turned on, and no action. Sociologist Francis Ione feels that Joe Colombo's alleged underworld power enabled him to more than fill the leadership vacuum.
Being able to thumb your nose at the establishment successfully, being able to make it in spite of all the charges made against you, has made a folk hero out of Colombo.
Joe Colombo's first public nose thumbing started 2 years ago with the nightly picketing of Manhattan's FBI headquarters. The picketing complained of government harassment of Italians and spawned the Italian-American Civil Rights League, which managed to have the words mafia and Cosa Nostra expunged from the lexicons of government, a Hollywood movie, and a lot of newspapers.
Will you welcome, please, Mr. Joseph Colombo, Sr.
The underworld, with its penchant for anonymity, was reportedly shocked to see one of its own becoming a very public figure. But to a lot of working-class Italo-Americans, it was the ultimate in nose-thumbing, whatever his background.
Explain what you do for a living, as if I had never met you.
Well, I'm a real estate salesman, and I own a piece of a funeral home. And that wasn't meant to be so funny.
If he had been anything other than what he is reputed to be, that he would not have gotten anywhere near the publicity that he's gotten from newspapers and elsewhere. Throughout southern Italy, historically back to the 1700s, you find the emergence of what were called social bandits, very much in the sense of Robin Hood in England, who worked against the establishment. So these bandits were looked up to. There are legends about them. There are ballads about them. So I think this is a large element to do with Colombo's popularity.
The Colombo ballad was written before he was shot. Since then, with candlelight vigils in front of his hospital, Joe Colombo's status actually seems to be rising.
If Joe Colombo does not survive, he will, of course, go on in legendary as a large folk hero. It sounds like a strange comparison, but in many ways, Joe Colombo could very well be the Malcolm X among Italian Americans.
David Snell, ABC News, New York.
Joe Colombo founded the Italian-American Civil Rights League because, he said, lawmen were always defaming Italo-Americans as gangsters. Critics said he founded the League only as a front for his own alleged underworld activities. The critics notwithstanding, the League picked up popular support. The League's second annual Unity Day rally in New York City today should have been a joyous occasion for Colombo. Instead, he got a bullet in his brain. Robert Shackney reports.
The crowd was still gathering in New York's Columbus Circle for what was to be the mass rally of Italian Americans, when suddenly gunshots, a whole series of them, and Joe Colombo Sr., the principal organizer of this event, was lying on the ground badly wounded, shot in the head and bleeding profusely. Colombo, 48 years old, facing a series of criminal charges, accused of being a gangland chieftain, now near death with a bullet in his brain. I was standing 10 feet from Colombo when he was shot, and I saw police and a crowd of Colombo's friends and guards seize the man who supposedly had fired the shots, Jerome Johnson, a black man from New Brunswick, New Jersey. Then another series of gunshots, no one seems to know who fired them, and Johnson was on the ground and he was dead. It was said that the would-be assassin had approached Colombo holding a camera, wearing press credentials. Then he suddenly pulled out a gun and at close range fired 3 times. There were literally hundreds of eyewitnesses to the assassination attempt in the midst of a mass public rally.
As I'm concerned, what I saw a hand sticking out with a gun and two hands around the wrist and a struggle, and I just jumped for the wrist.
Right. Did you see Colombo shot?
No.
The immediate problem calming an emotional crowd of many thousands.
Please do not panic. Please, ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of thing you can't do. There's so much bad happened already. We plead with you. Stay back. All the captains back to your position.
The big rally that Joe Colombo had organized was not canceled after the shooting, but the events were very different.
Save Joe Colombo. St. Jude. Pray for him. And people, People of Italian unity, pray for him.
111, the call for unity of the Italian-American Civil Rights League.
All the captains, get into your position. Keep your eyes open. Don't be intimidated. And don't be pushed either.
But there were bad moments maintaining order, keeping control of the crowds. Maybe because Colombo's presumed assailant was black, other blacks found themselves in trouble. This angry fight on the fringe of the crowd when it was alleged a black man had pulled out a hatchet. Police moved in quickly for the arrest, but there were troubled times again and again and incidents that sputtered all afternoon until it was announced the rally was over. Robert Shackney, CBS News, New York.
The impressive size of the crowds turned out by the Italian-American Civil Rights League has focused attention and curiosity again on the organization, which claims a rapidly rising membership. In anticipation of today's rally, Bill Curtis looked into the story of the League and the role of its founder.
The League appeals to all Italian Americans to fight discrimination. Its members are particularly unhappy with the stereotype image of the Italian as a gangster. They want to eliminate words like mafia and Cosa Nostra. They say simply all Italians aren't gangsters, and all gangsters aren't Italian.
Okay, do you play hooky? And you know hooky is taboo and we don't go for those things. Okay.
The League preferred this image, real estate salesman Joe Colombo pinning a junior captain's badge on a child a few months ago.
And the biggest fight that we have is the narcotics, drugs, marijuana, pills. Did your mother and father ever tell you about those things?
I tried to show them.
Did. And do you know that that's our enemy, and will you fight against them things too? And you give me a word.
The League is strong in its position against drugs, and in their offices, some of the leaders spoke about their aims, goals, and reputations.
I have always maintained and said there is no mafia, there is no Cosa Nostra. And I said that this was only a harassment of the Justice Department, of the administration, and the law enforcement agencies, for no other reason than to hurt people, to hurt children, and to brainwash and use the Italian people as the scapegoat for each and every crime that's committed in this country.
What have the Italian children grown up have to look up to? What people have they had to look up to? Al Capone, Frank Nitti? I mean, we're never classified or never depicted as the all-around nice guy in a movie, the hero image, the war hero, the cowboy hero, any kind of hero. No, we're always depicted as the criminal, as the sneaky, sinister type, the informer type. When are our Italian children going to be able to have good associated with them, like Enrico Fermi, Marconi, William Pack, who signed the Declaration of Independence?
It's $10 a year for our membership. Would you like to join?
Is this organization affiliated with any other organizations?
No, this is a solely Italian-American Civil Rights organization.
Sounds very good.
The League is recruiting new members all the time, like for this new chapter in Bayonne, New Jersey. It now claims to have signed up more than 55,000 people nationwide. Its directors talk of plans for old people's homes, narcotics treatment centers, summer camps, and orphanages.
It's about time somebody started something in Bayonne.
But some critics are skeptical. They fear that many Italian Americans have been duped into joining, to pressure the FBI and other law enforcement agencies into easing up on their investigations into organized crime. Among the critics is New York State Senator John Markey.
Their attempt to reach out to the total Italo-American community and say any action against us is an attack against the entire total Italo-American community is preposterous. If it didn't have sinister implications, it would be laughable.
The League succeeded in eliminating the words mafia and Cosa Nostra from the film being made from the best-selling novel The Godfather, and many prominent officials, including Attorney General John Mitchell, have promised that in the future, their agencies will use the words organized crime instead of mafia and Cosa Nostra. The FBI has been the League's major target. For more than a year, Italian Americans picketed FBI offices in New York nearly every night. The picketing has ended temporarily so the League could concentrate on preparations for Unity Day. More demonstrations were promised. but that promise came before Colombo was gunned down. Other officials will no doubt try to continue the League's projects, just as today's ceremonies continued after the shooting. How successful the League will be is another question, for there is no doubt that the momentum built up over the past year was due mainly to one man, Joe Colombo. Bill Curtis, CBS News, New York.
Today will proclaim him an Italian, an honorary Italian, the Italian-American Civil Rights League attorney, Mr. Barry Slapnick.
Doesn't understand America. We're here together today to say the Congress will work to see to it that nothing is done that discriminates against people of Italian background, to whom all of us owe so much we can never possibly begin to repay our debt. Avanti!
And now one of our staunchest supporters, Councilman Anthony Imperi.
For you, the Italian-American crowd, you're all very enthusiastic about this turnout. But what are you going to do about it after today? That's right, stick together. You know where your enemy lies? Then take a page from history. Boycott it. Boycott the newspapers. Boycott the politicians who use you. Today, you've had many representatives come before you and speak. And they all told you how much they love the Italian American. But how many of them have come before a news medium and defended the Italian American? How many? Not forget in words. If you, the Italian American, today, leave this center and you go home and forget, if you go home and you don't ban, if you don't boycott the news medium, the television medium, and boycott the products that make the movies like the Sicilians, boycott those who call us mafia, hurt them in the pocketbook. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you, and hold your head high. Thank you.
Am I going to get 2 minutes to lay into the border bed?
Something I did, and everything I always say, these other guys are taking it right. Charles Bonaparte, everything that I always do. Let them be happy. I was told.
Right on! Right on! Right on! Right on! Adam!
For only one reason. We have come here today to ask one question. Is this a nation for all people or just for a privileged few? I say it's a nation for all people, and I'm with you in anything you want to do to make this the kind of nation it should be. A nation of the people, black and white, for the people, Puerto Rican and Italian, and by the people, Protestant and Catholic. I say, right on, fight on. God bless you.
Thank you. Let's be all courteous.
Who's next?
All right, now you call.
Wait a
Bishop
minute.
Valello. Call
Wait, let me put on this kid.
Before I even start, are we one? Are we united today? I thank God for that. My brother and sister Italians, honored guests and supporters of our great cause. Yesterday, 30 courageous Italian-American people started a fight against discrimination, harassment, and defamation at the hands of the FBI. The FBI laughed and called it a passing fancy. The news media ridiculed and laughed at us in print. The Marquis, Solanos, and DiCarlos preached disunity. But today, we have overcome the harassment, the laughter, the defamation, and the discrimination. Today, we are united. Today, we are one. Today is but the beginning of tomorrow. For tomorrow, the Italian-American Civil Rights League, which is all of you Italian-Americans, will break ground for the first and only Italian hospital. We will set up Civil Rights League clubs across the United States to unite the Italian-American people everywhere. In conjunction with these Civil Rights League's clubs, we will set up a therapeutic and preventive narcotics program to show them I would like to leave you now with my own special prayer to God. United we stand today, and I pray, God, united we must stand forever. I call unity. One.
Policemen were surrounding a man. They were struggling with him. There was a series of shots. This man, too, was on the ground, a black man. Apparently the man who had fired the shots at Joe Colombo. Who shot the assailant? I don't know. Police aren't saying. They simply say they were trying to subdue him when he was shot. The rally, it had been a well-organized, conventional enough political demonstration. It hadn't even begun about 11:30 when suddenly it changed. Suddenly there was gunfire, and Joe Colombo, the man who started and organized the Italian-American Civil Rights League, was lying on the ground bleeding. I was standing maybe 5 or 10 feet away from Colombo when suddenly the shooting began. I didn't know what it was for a second or two. I looked over, people were running, and there was Colombo lying on the ground covered with blood. Moments later, there was another fusillade of shots. I looked over. Police were struggling with a man. I guess he must have been the assailant. Shooting started. I don't know who shot, but the assailant, or the presumed assailant, suddenly was lying on the ground, bleeding badly. He was dead. Crowds began to run from the platform. Other people, marshals of this demonstration, the captains, were trying to stop people from rushing the platform. The crowd was fairly large. might have gotten out of control at that time, but nobody seemed to know for the moment what had happened.
He had just finished trying to arrange that the regular Central Park vendors wouldn't be coming in to sell their food and drink. He was sort of standing on the side, and his son Joe Jr. was there, and pow, the shots came. In the area of the reviewing stand,
Colombo that was shot.
It was Colombo. His son Joe Jr. was with him, and Barry Goddard was nearby, the mayor's assistant, as well as a deputy chief inspector, Arthur O'Morgan, who was, and they were going to arrange it. And Colombo had just finished walking away from that. That's what I saw.
And
then I heard that the shot's still coming. It must have been just like in a space of about 2 seconds, but all of a sudden you say to yourself, hey, I'm still standing, and then you start to run.
What kind of condition did he appear to be in?
He looked pretty bad. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anybody shot before, but he was down on the ground and there was a spot of red on his right cheek.
Did you have the feeling that maybe you were in the middle of the Godfathers?
No, I had the feeling I was in the middle of gunfire and I wanted to get the hell out.
Judy, can you tell where he was shot?
It looked like in the area of the right cheek because there was blood on it, his right cheek, his lower right cheek, right there. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can I have Artie?
Intended to do the way it's supposed to be done. Please try to control yourselves. Try to stay where you're supposed to be. Everybody take your positions.
Hey, Tony Goff, Sam, Tony, where are you? Surround the circle. Listen, everybody keep cool heads here now, huh? All right, don't show no emotion here. This is a day of our day. Just relax and don't worry, everything will be all right.
No, that's all, fellas. That's cool. Help me, I'll tell them. They'll listen to me. They don't know you.
All your captains back to their original positions and clear the area.
I know it. I understand. I understand. What? Who?
The driver of the ambulance.
Nobody knows. Forget about it.
The driver of the ambulance.
Yes, driver. They want what? All right. Let's get in another ambulance. There's another one there.
Hey, Bert, you're running. Hold
Please, fellas. If they don't have a captain, put them on the other side of the barrel. Move this out. Put them on the other side of the barrel. All right, Captain, spread out. All right, that's a pen in there.
All right, Captain, let's do your jobs. Don't stop now. Keep doing your jobs. Hold these people behind the barriers. Edward wants a piece for noontime, and Little Kaiser says he would like you to feed something if you have the details by 10 to 12.
Did you say Joe Bragg? Bragg?
Don't stop now.
That's the slides, Captain. You know what to do. Get into your places.
Captains, back to your post. All right, Captains, you know who they are. Let them through the lines if they're in the crowds.
Captain, don't look at us. Turn around.
Do your job.
Face the crowd, man. Look at the square in the eye. Face the crowd.
Yeah, the first one.
All right, we need more captains down over here.
As long as you people are there showing your colors, coming out and demonstrating for the Italian American Civil Rights League, we will endure anything, fight anyone that is discriminating, defaming our people at all times. This is the time to unite. We need each and every one of you. Keep
One. Che vivi l'Italia Americani! Che vivi l'Italia Americani! Nobody this day! Everybody's an Italian! It's today's our day!
The Italian-American Civil Rights League
right back.
has a
Keep yelling and
heritage we talk
screaming.
about today. We're going all out to do the things we believe in, and that is the reason why we say we'll make the cities long to make them big and strong and give them camps where they can beat the heat. We'll build fine playgrounds and recreation centers to keep them off the street. Homes and hospitals for the aged where they can be.
I would like to announce that the man is in fair condition and he'll be back soon stronger than ever. And again I repeat, look ahead of you, captains. Look alongside of you. Don't trust anyone and don't hesitate. I'm not provoking, but I'd be a son of a bitch. I'm not going to take another insult like that. Dump it, then we talk. How was it?
Chief, what's your first name? Killed.
I don't know that either. A shot went off, and while we were holding on to his hand, I don't know whether the shot went off before or the shot went off as we grabbed.
You were trying to subdue him and somebody shot him. Is that it, roughly?
I don't know whether the shot went off prior to trying to subdue him or at the time we were subduing him.
And have others been arrested? I saw some people being let off.
I don't know. The detectives may have taken some witnesses in, but I don't know anything.
Right. Your name, Chief, is what?
Reed.
Chief Reed, Assistant Deputy Assistant Chief in charge of?
I'm the Borough Administrator.
Borough Administrator. First name?
Thomas.
Thank you, sir.
will speak out. Hillel the rabbi and the teacher of the great people said, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? I cannot be silent today, tomorrow, or ever. If the cause is...
Around him are about 10 doctors, your best neurosurgeons, and they're going to try to do their best to save him. He is still critical. We're here today for the unification of Italians, to express ourselves, and one of our great leaders who brought us out today, who showed us in a radical way that we can come together and be one, has suffered the consequences. As I left, I spoke to Tony Colombo, and he asked me to give you this message. Pray for his father, especially pray to St. Jude at this time. And so my friends, my Italians, people of unity, I ask you now to join your hands, everybody, in a symbol of unity. Everybody stands up and join hands together. Wait a second. I ask you in joining hands, to utter a prayer with me for Joey. In unity, we pray to our Father that Joey Colombo makes it. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Our Father, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, done. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but amen. raise your flags. God bless America. Land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains, through the valleys, through the ocean, right before. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. Here we go. Remember this, we are united and united we'll stand, each and every one of us. There's no place in the world that I would rather be than with you, my friend. And there's nothing in the world I would rather see than your smiles, my friend. Oh, united we stand, divided we fall. And when our backs are up against the wall, we'll be together, together, you and I. Oh, united we stand, divided we fall. And when our backs are up against the wall, we'll be together, together, you and I. And if the world should ever fall apart, my friends, I'll still be here. And when my country needs a hand when things get rough, just you call and I will hear. Everybody sing, come on. Oh, you
Colombo has stopped bleeding, and who knows, maybe we're on our way. I don't know, and I only pray that God again will intercede and save this man. And I hope that you will bear with me again to say one more Our Father. At this time, we're here long now. We're supposed to be together. Everybody hold hands. Join hands. Listen before he even gets to court. And then finally, when he gets to court, every other thing is brought up of his background, and immediately he's judged not on the crime, but on his background, on his companionship, on who he hangs out with, and who he may be, rather than what he's done. Yes, my dear friends, we are still living in the days of Sacco Vanzetti. Yeah, we got ahead. Sure, we built this country. We suffered. We worked hard. And everybody has made a living and is making a living and doing fairly well economically.
With some of the greatest stars, some of them imported from Italy. With some of the greatest stars, some of them imported from Italy. Some of the greatest people. She is the mother of Italian American civil rights movement. Wonderful lady.
Take their point. The bigots slander that fact. Charles Bonaparte, an Italo-American, who was an Attorney General under President Roosevelt, was the founder of the FBI. How will the bigots slander that fact? We must stop this discrimination, and we must stop it now. some of its manifestations. In our public high schools, there is only one Italo-American principal, and he is on leave. 1 out of 90. I say not enough. Only one Italo-American president serves on the 21-member board of higher education. I say not enough. Not one of the 20 city university college presidents is an Italo-American. Not one. Out of 650 federal appointments by President Nixon, only 7 are of Italian descent. I say not enough. I salute you. I salute the League and all of those of you who are present today. We must continue the fight against bigotry. Continue to instill pride in our great heritage. Continue to build children's camps. Continue with scholarships for education. Continue with your fight against drug addiction and drug abuse. Continue with your fight for the betterment of Italo-Americans and all people. Let us be steadfast in our determination to wipe out all forms of defamation and discrimination, not only against Italo-Americans, but against all ethnic, racial, and religious groups. Let us all, in unity, dedicate ourselves to a better life for all Americans. Thank you. Congressman Mudd.
Before it became chic, they sent $10,000 to Pakistan to the flood victims. They didn't have anybody from the press taking pictures, but that $10,000 saved 250,000 children. Nobody said nothing about that. And you also, did the newspapers print that we flew in a little boy from Italy for open heart surgery? That was kept quiet. How about the 69 Corona homeless in Corona that actually now they got their homes? How about our narcotics program? And most of all, do you know we have now a summer camp where 500 underprivileged children could go every week there. No money, no pay. We pick them off the streets. Just be poor, that's the only, and you belong to us.
No good.
Francis,
Mafia Cosa Nostra. You gotta stop with this.
When they say mafia, they refer to the Italian people. They're saying that the Italian people are mafia. They calling us crooks.
Did you ever have any dealings with Carlo Gambino?
No, no dealings. Oh yeah, I went to shovel snow from him, that's about it. Me and my brother. And he paid us about $10 each. Shovel his backyard.
Did you ever meet him?
Well, not in person. Never in person. But I heard about him. He's a really nice guy.
Joseph Colombo. Milton Lewis on that scene in Brooklyn as Colombo's friends gathered to remember the man some called an underworld boss. Funeral today, some people were there because they wished to be, others were there because it was part of their job. Milton Lewis was one of those.
Roger, as funerals for notorious individuals go, this was extremely modest, with a service held in the section of Brooklyn where Joe Colombo was regarded by many as an outstanding citizen and family man. There were only 3 flower-filled cars. The casket didn't look to be overly expensive, and no major recognizable organized crime figures came to pay their last respects to the dapper don who headed the family, once bossed by the late Joe Profaci, the olive oil king.
While there were a great number of politicians at the rally at which Colombo was shot, including at least one congressman, at least one member of the state legislature, I didn't see any of those people today.
Some 250 mourners attended the service in the half-empty church, from which cameras were barred. FBI agents and plainclothes police were present when Colombo's wife, 4 sons and 1 daughter, as well as his parents, arrived.
Well, I met him in '49 at the waterfront. I worked with him on extra labor. And I think he was a hell of a nice guy.
Colombo died Monday at age 54. He'd been virtually paralyzed and in a semi-coma since he was shot down at an Italian-American Civil Rights League rally at Columbus Circle in 1971.
Well, he was a family man that...
When I was a lot younger, I was about 10 years old, my father used to come home sometimes with turkeys, and Mr. Colombo had given them to him.
Robert Violante, with Stacy Moskowitz the night she was killed by David Berkowitz, and who was left almost blinded by the so-called son of Sam, didn't know Colombo, but came to the church today with a friend who did.
Well, I had a lot of respect for the man, and he was doing the things for the Italian people, and he was good for our own kind.
The Mass of Resurrection was conducted by Father Louis Gigante, former city councilman from East Harlem. He spotted me after the service, and as the funeral entourage was passing the home of Colombo's sister, on the way to the cemetery.
Can you tell us, summarize what you said at the service?
Yeah, I just called Joe Colombo a martyr for the Italian-American cause, because he put this thing forward. He came forward, and in being forward, he actually defended the Italian cause. And doing that, he was actually killed in this effort.
Did you say anything about the news media?
The news media was horrible.
You were present, by the way, the day that Mr. Colombo was...
I anointed him. I was there, yes.
Mobster Joe Colombo outlived his assassins by 7 years, but never as anything resembling what he once was, never more than a paralyzed and comatose vegetable. 2 weeks ago, in critical condition, Colombo was taken to a hospital at Newburgh, New York, and that's where he died last night at 54 years of age. Lawmen seem to feel that his death will mean nothing in the power structure of organized crime because Colombo, in effect, was killed at Columbus Circle on June 28th of 1971. Steve Bauman recalls the Colombo career and the decision that brought his demise.
Back in the spring of 1970, many people found it rather hard to believe. Joe Colombo had organized a picket line around FBI headquarters in Manhattan. Several news programs didn't even cover the protest the first few times, but Colombo persisted. He claimed the Bureau had tainted all Italian Americans with the label Mafia and had engaged in a personal vendetta against him and his family. A couple of months earlier, his son had been arrested on a charge of melting down U.S. coins for their silver value. He would later be exonerated. Joe Sr. had also been arrested on a perjury charge and indicted for alleged income tax evasion. Many court appearances later, while he was seeking a stay of sentence, Colombo gave his view to a reporter.
I believe that the law of our land, that the judges are fair, that this is a thing that they would give to anyone. They should give it, and because my name is Joe Colombo, I should be treated the same as anybody else.
Do you feel that you're being railroaded then?
I definitely say I'm being railroaded.
While his legal problems continued, including charges that he operated a $10 million a year gambling operation, Colombo continued building the organization that grew out of the FBI protest, the Italian-American Civil Rights League. June 28, 71 would be their second rally in Columbus Circle, and more than 50,000 were expected to attend. But just as it was about to begin, Colombo was shot 3 times at close range. The apparent gunman, a black man named Jerome Johnson, was killed instantly by gunfire from someone who's never been identified. Minutes after, Colombo was rushed away in an ambulance, paralyzed as he would be for the rest of his life. The rest of crowds were led in prayer by Father Louis Gigante, who had delivered the invocation for the rally.
Let us sustain our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Today, Father Gigante described Colombo as a man who unified the Italian-American community. We asked if it wasn't possible that the first protests against the FBI were meant as counter-pressure for his own legal problems.
the so-called crime lords and the people who are supposed to be organized crime, and they go after them, and they'll persecute them, and they'll oppress them. And so I don't think he did this to offset that. What he did was to go and defend his son.
It's widely believed that the beginning of protests against the FBI further exacerbated friction between Mr. Colombo and his associates and other fields of influence, such as the Gallo Group. Do you believe that came about?
Yeah, what you're saying is what the media has purported to believe and present to the public, and the police have said this. And I think that's another instance where the police have once again
and federal law
enforcement
and the Congress
tried to make the Italian community a criminal-oriented community and emphasize this aspect that there was a war going on between Gallo and Colombo. Well, what their differences were, I do not know. There may have been. But I do know one thing. It had nothing to do with the Italian-American Civil Rights League.
Whatever the reasons, when Joe Gallo was gunned down in a Mulberry Street clam house in early '72, law enforcement agencies attributed it to revenge for the Colombo shooting. A man described as a Colombo enforcer was eventually indicted for the Gallo murder, but he was never booked. And neither so-called crime family has reportedly regained the power it held before the warfare that left them both leaderless some 7 years ago. This is Steve Bauman, Channel 5 News.